Radical.
Let's see if I can turn this into a topic of discussion for a couple minutes. I got a link friend sent to me. He sent me a link, a clip of this one guy, this uptight, stuffy looking fella. The minute I saw him, I was like, okay, that's a politician, right? You know. So I think this guy might be a Republican. I'm not sure. I'm guessing so because he seems to have it against video games and spanking movies. Collectively, I think, of the parties, one party seems to be wholly against video games and spanking movies. And video games and spanking movies is two of the funnest things there are that exist currently, you know? Even if you're perfectly well adjusted and you have a great job, there's a lot of people leaving comments up under this clip saying, well, I'm a lawyer and I have a beautiful wife and kids and, I play video games. He didn't mention the, spanking movies, but heck, maybe he does that too. I know a lot of couples and people that just, they spice things up. They watch movies together. I don't think there's anything wrong with video games. I don't think there's anything wrong with spanking movies. But what's the quote here he said that made this clip kind of funny to me? He said, more men today are watching spanking movies and playing video games because their masculinity has been criticized. Now, he could have just stopped with the regular line I think a lot of Republicans use. It is wrong for young men to be playing video games a lot and, watching those spanking movies. Not that it's going to stop young men, it's not going to stop it, right? Especially the spanking movies, that happens when you discover yourself for the first time. You're like, okay, I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna probably need, some spanking movies or magazines or whatnot, because that's just part of life. We've all been there. But I think he's referring to young males, and video games. They retreat into the enclave of video games he's talking about. Well, I've talked about addiction to video games before, and how people can be addicted to video games and, let's be honest here, play video games a little bit too much. But that's the same thing with the smoking, drinking, there's vices. Well, what's really funny here is he talks about, which doesn't make any sense, they play video games and they watch spanking movies because their masculinity has been criticized. Yeah, criticized. So it's interesting terminology. I would say probably this guy might be projecting a little bit. I'm looking at this guy. This guy looks like the kind of guy that grew up playing video games and spanking it. That's the impression I get from just listening to this guy talk, So I think he's projecting a little bit. I think he's revealing a lot about himself. What probably happened was his wife walked in on him and he was spanking it to something. And now maybe he has to repent for it or whatever. And then he has to do these things. It just seems like when you watch him, he's talking from personal experience. But there's nothing wrong with spanking it. There really isn't. And I think it's sad that men and women, they wouldn't be spanking it. They would be tapping it. Tapping it. They would be tapping it and, I don't want to get too graphic here. But, yeah, whether you're tapping or spanking, there's nothing wrong with it unless you do it, like, too much. It's a part of a healthy life, I would say. You might ask, well, Radical Rick, do you spank it?